So today we are going to break down the cost of living in Gilbert, Arizona. Groceries, taxes, home prices, transportation. So hopefully this will help you get a better idea of what it's really gonna cost to live here before you actually move here. So I work and live in Gilbert, Arizona. So I'm gonna share some of my personal experiences and also some more objective data and stats as well. And my goal is to be your #1 resource for moving to the East Valley, the Phoenix East Valley. So if you don't mind, if you could hit that subscribe button, it does help me out quite a bit. So first we're gonna talk about homes because that tends to be our biggest monthly expense. So right now, the median sales price for a home in Gilbert, throughout Gilbert, is $591,000. Considering that Gilbert is almost a quarter or over a quarter million people, we see a lot of variance in home prices. Last month, the lowest home price was $340,000, and then the highest home sold was $4 million. So we get a lot of variety. One thing to note about Gilbert, it is primarily comprised of single family homes. We do have some condos. Some condos, I've seen them recently listed for the mid 300s, and then they go up to the 400s. One thing you do want to watch out though is some of these condo communities can have a really high HOA fee. So just make note of that. But if you are renting a home for a single family home, the median right now is about $2,500. And then if you're looking for more an apartment, a 1-2 bedroom apartment, I've seen them from like $1,500 to $1,800. You can find something below $2,000 for sure. As far as living expenses, the one that I'm most commonly asked about are utilities. Trash was $34 last month. Now for water, you can see a little bit more variance than sewer and trash, of course. There is a base fee of $38, and then you have a usage fee on top of that. Now last month, my husband and I, our usage fee was only about $10 on top of that $38. Something to consider is we do not have any grass. We have primarily desert landscaping, some minimal drip irrigation, and we also don't have a pool. So those factors and how many people you have living in the home are of course going to impact your water. But I will say overall, people are typically pleasantly surprised with the cost of our water bill here, or what our water bill is here compared to other states. But electric is the utility that will get you, mainly because of air conditioning. So electric can vary significantly across the board. I mean, I've heard a lot of people during the summer months, they can keep it closer to 200. And then I've heard other people that have these really large homes that they're spending like $800-900 a month. Now, the things that are going to impact your electric bill, of course, are what do you keep your thermostat at in your house? Do you have a lot of square footage? Is it a large home? Is it one story or 2-story? How energy efficient is your home as well? Does it have pretty good insulation? Do you have newer windows? And then also the condition and the age of your AC unit can also just impact the efficiency in that electric bill as well. So for us personally, our house is just under 2,000 square feet. We usually keep the thermostat between 72, 74, which is actually, I would say, on the chillier side for Arizona. A lot of people actually keep it higher than this. It's because we have such a dry climate. You really don't need to have your thermostat cranked real low. And then our months, like during the winter months, our bills were about $100 a month. And then during the summer months, particularly between like June and September, it was common for us to see between $250 and $350. We did have one month last August, that was $390. And that was primarily just because it was a really hot summer. One option we have for the electric companies here too is they can do even billing, which means they basically average your bill throughout the year. So you're paying the same amount every month. So that way you don't have a really low bill in December and then a super high bill in July. So one note on solar, because I know this is probably going to come up. Okay, so I've looked at many electric bills for my job. And very rarely do I find when people have financed or leased solar, that monthly payment offsets how much they save on their electric bill. Now, I know the solar salesman is going to give you quite a bit different narrative, but this is just from what I've seen and in my own experience. So if you are thinking about solar with the intention of really saving money on your electric bill, just make sure you're doing your research because it might not really be saving you as much as you think. The next expense we're going to talk about is transportation. Now, if you don't live here or are not familiar with Gilbert, you definitely need a car to get around. That is our main mode of transportation in this city. Now, there are some like bike lanes, and of course there's crosswalks and lights everywhere, but I will say it's not a super pedestrian friendly city, so you really do need a car. Now, of course, we do have Uber and Lyft, and it's always available. It doesn't matter what time of day. I would say the rates are pretty fair compared to other cities. Of course, it depends what time of day that you're booking one of those ride shares. Now, as far as gas here, right now our gas is $3.46, which is actually a little higher than the national average right now. Right now, the national average is $3.21. So I guess you could say our gas is a little bit higher on the higher end. So the other expense that I've been asked quite a bit frequently, but is health insurance or just health coverage across the board. Now, this is a little bit harder to quantify just because, of course, this can vary so much depending on your age, if you have a family, if you have comorbidities, all those sort of things. But when we look at the national average, Gilbert or Maricopa County is actually 7% lower than the national average. So it's actually a little bit cheaper here than most places. For a healthy 40-year-old adult, you're looking for health insurance, it's about $577 a month on average. As far as healthcare, we do have two big hospitals. There's Mercy Gilbert, which is a Dignity Health Hospital, and then we also have Banner Gateway, which is Banner. Now, right next door in Chandler, we actually have a huge hospital, another Dignity Health Hospital is Chandler Regional Medical Center. And this is actually a level 1 trauma center. So I know for bigger conditions or more severe injuries and so forth, a lot of people end up going to that hospital. Now, let's talk about taxes. So as far as the income tax for Arizona, we actually have a flat rate, which is 2.5%. Our sales tax comes out to 8.3%, and this includes the state, the county, and then Gilbert, the city's sales tax all joined together. This actually did increase about 0.5% this past year. So how we calculate property taxes in Arizona is a little bit more complicated, but if you're looking at a home $600,000, pretty close to that median sales price in Gilbert, your property taxes are going to be approximately about $200 a month, or $2,400-$2,500 a year. So yes, our property taxes here are pretty attractive, particularly if you're moving from California or the Northeast. So the next category is food. Now, when we look at groceries, it's a little harder to quantify. So I did look at things like eggs and milk and then compared it to national averages. So for eggs here, it's about $3.79 for a dozen, and that's actually 20% less than the national average. So our eggs are a little bit cheaper. And then our milk actually is about $2.50 a gallon when I looked at fries, and that is also about 30% cheaper than the national average. Now, one thing to note is we have every grocery store you can think of in Gilbert. We have Costco, Trader Joe's, Sprouts, Safeway, all of it. As far as going out to eat, if you're going to more of a casual sit-down restaurant, you're probably looking at about $15 to $20 for an entree. Now, we do have some nicer restaurants where it can easily be $50 a person. I would say we don't have as many high-end restaurants as like Scottsdale, but over the past few years or handful of years, we have started to see more higher end restaurants come to Gilbert. Now, something to note is we do have a lot of good happy hour deals. So if you're a fan of a deal, definitely check out this video right here. I actually break down a lot of different happy hours and some of my favorite restaurants in downtown Gilbert. Thank you so much for watching and have a fantastic day.